Hello, hello. This is my next guitar video blog. Again, the goal is to try to keep these short and just give you all a quick update of how my guitar progress is going. So yesterday I had my first lesson of 2025, just kind of getting back in the swing of things, going over some kind of theory like what chords I'm playing. I learned that that's a E sus4, I'm pretty sure. Okay. And then also in the lessons, we're working on the song that I picked to learn right now, which is I Want a Woman by Rat, which uses that E sus4 in the... And if you don't recognize it by that, you don't know the song, because that's how the song goes. It was nice in the lessons. He's got an amp that I can use that has some effects, and so it's nice not playing just clean. So maybe one of these days I'll get myself a little something to have some dirt in there, some overdrive or distortion or something. But one thing he wanted me to do is, instead of playing with the power chords with my index and pinky for the root and the fifth, he wants me to do root on index and then ring finger, which that's the way I initially learned how to do them, because it makes sense, one finger per fret, and then it opens up your pinky for stuff like that, or your pinky can play that octave, or it can do some other stuff if needed. But if you're using it on for that chord, it ties that up. And the reason why I went to using the pinky is Yousician, the program I use, oftentimes shows you to use the pinky there. Sometimes it'll show to use the ring, oftentimes it'll show the pinky. And so that's why I did that, and that's one thing he wants me to change. Another thing is that in the song, like the first run of 16th notes, I'm kind of hitting a wall between about 100 and 110 beats per minute. It's like 2.5, 3 bars or so. Kind of a solo, maybe not. It's not in the solo, but it's definitely soloing as like a transition or something in one of the parts. And so for that, I messed up already. So that's how it is slow. I didn't hit that very strongly, but so I like to do down and it pulls off. And then I like to do an upstroke there. But what he wants me to do is down, pull off, down, up, down, up, down, up. I messed it up, but the point is to do that double down in the beginning, and then to make sure I don't switch at the end. There's also yeah, there's a double down at the end of the lick. Don't want to take too much time, but the point is I learned it one way, and he wants me to try a different picking pattern just a little bit to learn it that way and see how I do with my speed, see if that helps me get past that 100 BPM. Since it was yesterday, I haven't really had time to look at it and learn it well with that new picking pattern to then try to speed it up. But yeah, that's how my lesson went. Still working on the blues skills. I need to memorize them, all of them. He calls the one that's here, or like up here, scale or pattern 3. A lot of other people will call it 1, and he calls it 3 because the first one is lowest on the neck, second one's middle, third one, and you move up the neck, and so it's just the lowest is the lowest on the neck, and then as you move up, they increase in number. And And the blues scales I also learned in the lesson contain the pentatonic scale if you take out the sharp fourth or the flat fifth. And then I also learned I may have memorized the scale going up and down, but in terms of using those notes or playing in like the key or that scale, I am not good at all. I often mess up, so I need to find better ways to practice rather than just knowing the notes up and down. I need to find more useful ways to use those notes and internalize what notes are in that scale, for like if I'm practicing soloing over something. As far as trying to do any self-assigned stuff, I'm finding I just don't really have the time right now to work on much more, and so I've kind of stopped assigning myself stuff. I talked about I Want a Woman. I've got a list of stuff I want to talk about in here to help me stay on track and keep this not too long. I see we're at about 6 minutes now. I don't want to go too much longer. And then if we're trying to show off any kind of skills or techniques that I've been doing, you can catch the yousician that I've been doing pretty well, or pretty consistently, not exactly daily, but pretty close to it. And you can see what challenges I have in there. I don't have anything new that is worth demonstrating, since I'm working on practicing something that's not quite up to speed. And you saw how I am on it, and I also need to switch how I was playing it, so I'm not ready to show anything. And yeah, I don't really have any thing that is worth updating there, though I wish I did. And then one thing I've noticed for me is learning songs on guitar versus bass. It takes a whole lot longer to learn the songs on guitar. It's a whole lot easier to mess up. There's a lot more components that go into it. As I get better and more experienced with guitar, I'm sure a lot of those things will come a lot more natural and be a whole lot easier. Like playing chords. Like playing G is pretty natural to me, but that doesn't sound very good. And so I've got to learn how to play the G properly. And then once I can learn and play the G properly, I then can use that in the songs that I'm learning if they have a G chord, for example. And so I have to learn like a component to then use, and once I learn the component, I need to combine that with the other components to then be able to learn the songs a whole lot faster. But right now, I'm in that kind of learning all the components phase and kind of putting them together, which is really great with yousician, because yousician at the spot I am now, it's a lot of applying some of those, working on those transitions, going from like C to G, or even now making you go F, G, or A to D without a lot of space in between. It's cutting down that space in that transition. So some of those harder ones I fumble over in the beginning, and now I'm improving on that. And speaking of yousician, I've got less than 40 songs left to go on level 5. When I started the streams, I was a lot higher than that. I think around 80 or so, and now we've dropped that down quite a bit. We're slowly working our way through, and once I finish all the ones on level 5, we'll bump up to level 6, as you probably could have guessed. As far as my total playtime, I've got 117 hours and 8 minutes on yousician, 368.8 hours on rocksmith, and 3 hours and 2 minutes with other practice. That includes my lesson. I'm tracking that now in a Google Excel or Google Sheets that I was able to format and put in like the date, my start time, my end time. It calculates the total time I played, and then it'll sum up all those times and put it into a box, and that box tells me how many hours and minutes I've done. So when I start practicing, I'll put in the start time. When I'm done, I'll know what time it is. Like right now it's 6:32. I'd plug in 6:32 as the end time. It calculates that difference, and so that's how I'm now tallying that up, and that is starting 2025. That number is right. I didn't track my time very well before 2025, obviously, but moving forward, this is a way to kind of see this is where I was at, and with this much time and input and effort, this is where I got to. And these weekly video blogs will help you kind of act as pit stops or guideposts to check in and see how my progress is going. Yeah, I think that is everything I wanted to cover. Thank you all so much for joining and checking out the weekly video blog. We've clocked in just over 10 minutes. Sorry for keeping you that long. And I will try to cut this down and be a little bit more entertaining, have a little bit more useful stuff, and maybe actually be able to showcase something. But maybe with how this falls right after the guitar lesson, stuff may change. So we'll see how it goes. And once again, thank you all for joining, and I'll see you next time.